Hello, everyone. My name is Beth Hedger, and I'm the Digital Innovation Principal at Ampersand Consulting. Today, I want to introduce you to some interesting concepts about your product organizations and get you thinking about how your organization is the most important product. So, product leaders, let's take a moment and reflect. All right. So, when I think about a product organization and I think about it as a product, there's a number of elements to that. You have an understanding of your organization. You know what those needs are that you need to solve for your business. You're able to make good decisions that lead to good products that then are the engine of your company's success. And that you're building things that are necessary and desirable for your clients, whether it's an internal user or external customers. So let's think about what adding that product mindset to your organization could look like. Okay, when I think of organizations, I think about them at different stages of their development and their maturity. And I know maturity can be a little bit of a challenging concept, but really it's just a way of understanding, hey, where am I? Where are my gaps? And how can I pay attention to the most important gaps? So, real briefly, if you think about your product org as a product, this is a measurement of where are those opportunities, where your strengths are, and where your pain points are. So from crawl to walk, you might be in that spot. And that may be a place to really do some evaluation about what may be going on. I'm going to share some ideas in the next few slides about that. So when you think about what are the components of a mature organization, and this could be true for a product organization or your company writ large, there's 5 pieces that I think are critical. How mature is your data? How effective and efficient are your operations? What about the design and structure of your team? Is that working and creating the value you intend? What are the behaviors in the people and the culture? And how are you rewarding the right kinds of behaviors and the right kinds of engagements? Is that going well for you? And then finally, how is the product organization connecting back to the company's strategy? How are you turning value into what your company needs you to deliver? Those are the 5 components to think about. Okay, so let's think about a few other things. When you're doing customer experience research, you're going out and finding out what's working, where the pain points are. You can do that very same thing for your organization and turn it a bit reflectively inside and figure out, hey team, how are we doing? Maybe you do an internal NPS evaluation, find out what's on top of mind. Then again, you've done some research about your team, you know what your gaps are, you know where your strengths lie. You can build a very simple map for yourself, for your organization, and that's your roadmap to improvement to that next level where you need to be so that you can be that engine for your business. All right. This last piece, I know there's a bunch on here, but I wanted to give a representation of what a mature organization might have. So imagine this is the ideal, perfect organization. You have product strategy alignment. Your team and communication is very collaborative. You're responsive to the market. You're able to make data driven decisions. Your innovation and experimentation processes are yielding good results, and you're able to say yes to the things that make sense, and you're setting aside those that are not the best bet. You really do have customer centric feedback, and you know what the satisfaction stats are for your products. And finally, you know you can have a level of speed and responsiveness in your processes, and you're not really being held back so that you have a well oiled machine. So let's think about you're taking your car in for an oil change and you discover, oh dear, your brakes are worn. That's what this idea of maturity is around your organization. Maybe you've changed the oil, but you need to figure out other parts that are broken in your car. This is just another way of thinking about where can I put some effort in my organization to make it better? So I'd love to hear your thoughts and see if you're discovering anything out there that's useful for you in terms of making your organizations better. The last piece, everyone likes data. So I took a stab at looking at, well, what could be factors we would want to measure to know without even doing an analysis what is happening current state. So a couple of categories you could look at are product data and insights. Do you have good use of data? Are you getting the data you need to make good decisions? What about how quickly you can get from idea to launch and out into the marketplace or out to the user? What is your time to market? That could tell you a lot about the effectiveness of your people, your processes, and your tools. What about, are you building the right things people want? So looking at your satisfaction and adoption, very critical. That gives you good information about some of the additional health parts of your team. Are you getting good information up front to then infuse it into your products? Or maybe that's a place your team needs to look at. Are you able to work cross-functionally? And what do those relationships look like? Are you more siloed? Or are you more connected? Resource utilization, another place where you may be doing really well and you're engaging with engineering and you're all locking arms and you're building really great things, but maybe you have a different experience than that. Perhaps there's different priorities and it requires a bit more engagement to be sure you're aligning on the very right things that need to be done and that leadership agrees and that you are informing leadership about where the priorities need to be placed. What about your new ideas pipeline? How is that doing? Do you know that you have the ideas necessary to keep moving forward and making progress? Are you beginning to feel like your agile structure is just feeling, you're iterating and you're getting features out there? Great. Maybe that's what the business needs. But this is one way to measure, are you doing the things in the way that you need to? And finally, how are you making decisions? Are you driving the decisions down to the lowest common denominator, trusting that those product managers and product leaders have a good understanding of the business and that they're really in tune and that they're delivering what the company is looking for? Or are you running into some challenges there? Are you discovering that maybe your roadmaps are not quite what the company needs and they need a refresh or they need a whole different way of thinking about them? So when you think about how your team is doing, use those similar numbers you would use to test your products for whether or not they're delivering the value intended, but find out if your organization is enabled to deliver that value. All right, well, in conclusion, thank you for stopping by and taking a few minutes to listen to some thoughts I have about how your product organization can be viewed as your most important product. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you and keep that conversation going.